Varlan says, I have no evidence supporting this, but my gut feeling tells me that Tanganga, injuries aside, would have been a great fit for Ange Ball. I think if you look at his attributes, very physical defender. He can be a proactive defender. He has good defensive attributes. His ball playing ability, I don't think we've ever seen kind of any sort of suggestions to say that he can be a good centre back playing out the back in an Ange system.
In fact, on the contrary, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think this one's true. I think maybe like in a Conte system or a Jose system, he could have really flourished if these injury problems weren't kind of with him. But in an Ange system, I just don't see it.
The only maybe in Van de Ven's role, maybe he could be decent at that potentially, but I don't see him having the amount of times I've seen Tanganga panic on the ball and give it away and not being calm on the ball.
But maybe Ange could have got it out of him.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, he's been here for years. It's not like I don't know. Maybe
look, he's been here for years, but it's always been a bit part role. Never had massively consistent time on the pitch. Injuries have always held him back. So we don't even know if we've seen the true Tanganga and true attributes of what he has.
That's fair enough, I guess. That's fair. But I just based on what I've seen from Tanganga, I think he could do the high line. He could do that defensive work pretty well. I think defensively we would still be good, even with him in the team. I just think on the ball, I think we lose too much.
Yeah. Patrick says Richarlison deserves more time, always plays for the badge.
I mean, look, he's going to get till January at least. We know that. So, I mean, I don't know what he means by more time. Do you think does he mean that he thinks he should still be in the starting 11 ahead of Johnson? Because I don't think that's true. Johnson's shown way more right now when he's been picked. So I don't think he deserves more time in the starting 11. Does he deserve more time in the club? I mean, he has to show something between now and January. Obviously, I still think it's unlikely he'll be sold in January, even if he's still not having a good time of it. So I think it's probably a moot point. But I guess it depends what he means by more time. Does he mean like even if he has another bad season, he deserves more time?
Endless amount of time, infinity, infinite.
I don't know what he means by more time. His time's not up yet.
Yeah, maybe in my head, it's talking about maybe the fans need to kind of have a bit more patience with him because patience is running out or has ran out, even with some fans.
And I get that, and I for one, I'm happy to be patient with him. But when you've seen a player play at his level for as long as he has, it's hard to stay patient. He needs to give something back in terms of his level of performance. He needs to show more quality, and it's not just about he needs to be like an absolute star and scoring hat tricks every game, but he just needs to start controlling a ball properly. You know what I mean? And these are basic things which fans will frustrate.
The fundamentals, as Jose used to say.
When you see a player who costs 60 million not doing simple things like that, that is going to frustrate fans.
And I would say, like, for the most part, he does always play for the badge, but there are moments sometimes where he lets his frustrations get the better of him, and it feels like he's not playing for the badge in those moments. You know, where was that game at Bournemouth away when he was just shocking and he was just kicking out at people and kicking out of the ball and just not. It seemed like he wasn't trying at that time. It seemed like he was just like moping around the pitch, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think Ange has definitely noticed it a couple of times. He took him off very quickly after that moment. And I remember against Fulham at home, he did some stupid control with his back and gave the ball away when we were on the attack. And he took him off very quickly after that as well. So it's not something Ange seems to tolerate.
Yeah, and rightly so. Billy Hemming with unpopular opinion here. I think this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, to be honest, but it says, if Dier is good enough for Bayern, he's good enough for us. Give him the armband.
Give him the armband, 100%. No.
Give him Bayern armband.
Exactly. Maybe he's talking to Bayern. He definitely should be captain of Bayern. No, definitely not. Son has been a brilliant captain. Definitely not give it to Dier. Do not even think about it.
I don't know what armband. Hopefully it's not the captaincy armband he's talking about. Maybe, those armbands when you learn how to swim. Exactly. Maybe he needs to learn how to swim. I don't know. But yeah, definitely not the captaincy armband. That's it for sure for Eric Dier. But Antoine says, squad is 2 elite signings away from competing with City for the title. I think
2 elite signings.
Maybe away. 2 elite signings and a few other signings dotted around. But
you said if we would have kept our players fit, would we compete for a title?
Yeah, but that's a big if. It's always a big if to keep players fit. Like, you can't go into a season and think you can challenge for a title with 11 good players. As much as I think that if we kept them fit, we can fight for a title, but I never thought we could keep them fit.
Yeah, but is that as far-fetched as saying what he's saying and what Antonis is saying?
If we sign 2 more elite signings and keep everyone fit, then yeah, we can challenge City.
But you're saying even without these 2 signings and keep everyone fit, we can challenge City for the title.
Yeah. But there's a long way to actually challenging and winning it. Look, I think that if we keep the 2 elite signings, and we need a lot more to go and actually be favourites and go and win it. But to compete, yeah, I do agree, to be fair, if we keep everyone fit.
But surely you would think if we can keep everyone fit and sign 2 elite players, we'd win the league.
If you think no, I don't think so. Because I think I said in the previous one that we can compete up until April, but I thought in that dodgy period we'll come unstuck. So I think even with 2 elite signings, yeah, it will stand us in more good stead. But I think we need to pack that squad out a lot more, to be honest.
100%, I agree with that. 2 elite signings, depends where he's talking about. 2 elite signings, I think definitely a winger. If we can get a winger and maybe another centre-back, I guess, because I think the midfield's pretty good. I guess a winger and a centre-back would probably be my choices for 2 elite signings. Would that put us in a way where we're winning the league?
Yes.
Yes, you think so?
An elite left winger and an elite centre-back, yeah, it would. It would. Because I think we already have one of the best midfields in the league options. I think we are a top left winger away from having a comparable front 3 as well. And our defence is looking really good. I'm looking at Destiny Udogie, who's brilliant, Pedro Porro, who's brilliant. The 2 centre-backs that we've got fit are brilliant. If we can have one to back them up, who's also a top player, plus Vicario, who I have a massive love for, I think that's an 11 that can compete with the best in the league.
Yeah, I think our starting 11, 100%. I agree with that. Is our squad enough? I mean, it's so hard to compete with City when their squad is so deep. But look, if you're just comparing starting 11s, if we add 2 elite signings there, it's hard to disagree that we could really be up there. But you've seen what injuries can do, obviously, right now. But if we can keep everyone fit and add 2 elite players to that, that's a real frightening starting 11.
Yeah. COYS says we should be playing Valise up front and Son on the left while Maddison is injured. Not too sure about that one.
Valise up front and Son on the left. Again, I don't want Son on the left. I don't think that would help anyone. I think all it would do was take away Son's goal threat, and then you're relying on Valise to hit the ground running and fill in the goals that you're missing from Son. And I don't think that's a sustainable situation. I'd much rather give Hill a chance or something like that than do what he's suggesting.
But why would we need to, like, Son on the left or Valise up top is not even like Maddison's position.
That's also another good point.
So I don't understand why those are connected, because we can still keep Sonny up top, put Brennan on the left and Kulusevski on the right, and put Lo Celso in the. I don't understand why those 2 players are linked to Maddison in the number 10.
Yeah. Neither do
I. Next up is from THFC Stone saying, I'd rather an inexperienced Donnelly playing at number 10 rather than Hojbjerg. I mean, so would I, to be fair. So would I. Yeah. I don't want Hojbjerg anywhere near that 10 position.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. But obviously playing in centre mid, that's not true. But in the number 10 position, 100%, I'd rather roll the dice and see what Donnelly can do than play Hojbjerg there. Because I don't think Hojbjerg, he's just not that player. He's never going to be any sort of goal-scoring, creative player that's going to fill in a void that we're missing with Maddison out. So 100% I'd rather Donnelly there than Hojbjerg.
Yeah, the highest Hojbjerg can be on the pitch is a number 8. That's literally the highest he can be on the pitch. But in terms of like putting Donnelly there instead of Hojbjerg, why is like them 2 the only options that he's talking about? That we have so many options that could, like, Kulusevski can move inside, Lo Celso can play there, Brian Hill could probably play there before Jamie Donnelly, to be fair. I mean, we've got options. So I don't think.
Anything Donnelly.
Yeah, I don't.
Donnelly or Hojbjerg, that's it.
Astastin says, bring Joe Rodon back. He's having a great season at Leeds so far. A couple of man in the match performances. Leeds fans are waxing lyrical about him. But do you want him back?
No.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
Not right now. I think let him enjoy his loan spell.
To be fair, I think we could do with him right now.
I'd probably much rather him than Dier right now, to be fair. But I'm not. Yeah, look, fair enough. He's doing well at Leeds. Good on him. Hopefully he gets his career back on track. But if you told me I could push this button now and he's back from his loan spell, I still wouldn't push it.
Next up is from Aaron saying Spurs fans would rate Kulusevski way higher if he was playing for someone else. I mean, if that someone else was Man City, I completely agree. I think Pep Guardiola would make him into a proper world star, Kulusevski, with the attributes that he does have. But look, I do think Spurs fans should value Kulusevski more than they do, because I think he does a great job for the team. But it depends who he's playing for, to be honest. I think if it's a Man City, I think yes. But if it was someone lower down the table, probably not.
Yeah, I do agree that Spurs fans underrate him, to be honest. I think he could play for a lot of the top 6 teams, and he would be... maybe Spurs fans will be looking at him thinking that, he's a much better player, but I think a lot of the things he does is underappreciated, even just by general football fans, not just Spurs fans. So I don't know if that's true. He would be rated higher if he played somewhere else, but I do think he is underrated. I do think that's true.
Next up is from Holly Agambar saying Hojbjerg is no better than Winks. He's just a glorified Winks.
He's a glorified Winks. What I would say about that is he's better defensively than Winks, definitely. Off the ball, Winks is pretty anonymous a lot of the time. I would say passing wise, I'd probably just shade Winks. I think Winks is probably a bit better with his passing, but I just think when it comes to, I think they're different players ultimately. I think Hojbjerg is much more of a box-to-box, bull in a china shop, likes to run around a lot, sometimes very inconsistent with his technical ability. Harry Winks is very much a sitter, likes to dictate play, plays long-range switches of play.
Mini Esther, right?
Exactly, a little mini Esther. So I wouldn't say Hojbjerg is a glorified Winks, but I think I think he is probably better than Winks just because of his physicality.
Is probably better. He's miles better than Winks, in my opinion, Hojbjerg. I don't think there's a comparison between the two.
He's definitely better than Winks.
He's miles better than Winks. Like, in every facet, maybe you can say if you're being harsh that Winks has got better passing than Hojbjerg, but even that I don't think there's much in it. I think every other facet, Hojbjerg is much better than him.
I think if Hojbjerg had Winks' passing range, he would be a much more complete midfielder.
Yeah, he would pass a few more sideways and backwards and have a bit more on the pass completion rate.
Don't talk about sideways and backwards when it comes to Hojbjerg.
Hojbjerg, look. Even you were arguing this not long ago, saying everyone was complaining about Hojbjerg about sideways and backwards, and you were talking about the stats about most progressive passes.
And so does Winks.
But Winks is shit.
Here we go.
David Williams says, Ange is good but naive versus Fulham and Palace. He got lucky by subbing our 2 best players in the 18th minute before time. Formation versus Chelsea, high back line was suicide. Subbing Bissouma with Giovanni versus Wolves was suicide, and ordering Dier Davis to high line cost us. Needs to control players' temper like Kuti. I mean, first of all, in the Kuti Romero situation, his temper has been much better since Ange has joined the club, and that was like, at the moment under Ange Postecoglou, that game against Chelsea was a one-off instead of like a consistent. So I don't think he has a case on that one. In terms of he's naive and all these subs he's saying that has backfired or not doing well, I think he was forced into a lot of those subs in terms of Maddison and Son playing through injury for pretty much all season, or having being close to injury. I think he had to make those subs. In terms of the high line against Wolves with those defenders, I think it's the only way to coach this way of playing into them. You've got to play it consistently and keep drumming it into them. So I disagree with pretty much everything he said.
Yeah. Also, Bissouma for Gio, I think that's what we needed. I think Gio did quite well. I don't think that that was the reason why we lost the game.
And Bissouma was terrible.
Yeah, Bissouma didn't play well as well. I don't get this constant criticism, him being naive. Like, people call Pochettino naive, and we were getting mixed results, when he first came, and he was maybe playing. Maybe
they were. I don't remember.
I don't think calling him naive, and maybe saying he wasn't good enough, but like, he was playing a high pressing system with players who weren't suited to it, like Kabul and Adbol and Lennon, and it took him time to figure out who can do the system, who can't. It's not about being naive. It's just that Postecoglou is 12 games in, and put it this way: if he comes in right and he starts changing his philosophy for the players, and we even if we get results, what is he truly learning? He's not really learning anything. All he's learning is that he can adjust it. But if he wants to know which of these players he's got at his disposal can play the system he wants, he has to play the system he wants. And then whoever's failing at that system, then he knows, okay, these guys can't do it. Then he can learn things. Otherwise, if he keeps chopping and changing, he's never going to truly know who can play the system and who can't. And I think that's the way he's approaching it. I think that's absolutely the spawn. Look at Guardiola when he first came in. He didn't change for no one. He played his way. He took some batterings in his first season. They ended up finishing 4th. And then he knew at the end of the season who can play it, who can't. He got rid of a load of players. He brought in a load of players, and look where they are now. Same with Klopp. I think they finished 8th first season. He didn't change for anyone.
Arteta as well.
Arteta as well. So I think that if you're talking about long term, I think that's the best way to approach it. If you're thinking short term and you're thinking, oh, he's just got to get results now, and that's what you're basing on, then yeah, maybe you can throw that accusation at him. He's naive. He's all this and that. But I think you've got to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, 100%. People need to realise that Conte and Jose aren't here no more. We're not just going out to do what we can just to win a game here and there and move on and achieve maybe just a top 4 finish. This is a project, a long-term project, and we're trying to get our identity back. And you can't do that by chopping and changing your system week in, week out. You need to stick with your identity, believe in your methods, and keep moving forward. And I think that's what we're doing.
Exactly.